Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, welcome officially to the channel. This is, as you know from the intro series, where I go into odd game accessories or peripherals the developers made to get us more into the game mentally or physically. Every so often, a company will try to make a product that is odd, not just because it's a strange idea, but because it has a specific use in mind. Such is the case with today's oddity, because today we're going to take a look at the Reality Quest Glove for the Nintendo 64. Now, Nintendo is no stranger to making odd devices or trying to be the first to try to remove a tried and true controller and replace it with something new and innovative. Pretty much everyone remembers the Power Glove that was based on the Data Glove, but made at such a low price point that it was almost in no way going to function remotely like it was advertised, making it a popular meme to this very day. Then there's the Nintendo Hands-Free Controller, a useful accessibility controller that honestly should have been more well advertised, as it was a great way to help quadriplegics engage with video games. And then there's the Reality Quest Glove. This was another option to help people with disabilities try to engage with the medium in some meaningful way. That said, let's take a look at how this thing works so we can try to understand how this might help people with some form of disability. What you did with this is you strapped this glove to your right arm. Sorry, there's no left-handed version of this. The player would then rest their hand on the mat that's covered with the N64 controller's buttons, with the LB and RB buttons being near the thumb. Now, I know what you're asking. How would you move this thing? It has no analog or D-pad. You see, that's the interesting part. This thing used motion controls. Well, sort of motion controls. You see, it could be set to D-pad, analog, or a mix between the two, and this would allow someone with limited mobility to operate the controller one-handed with a limited motion in their hand using gyroscopic controls. This isn't full motion controls, but more limited by the nature of it using a more primitive gyroscope to allow for motion. This, however, did make it so someone with no functionality in their left hand and a level of paralysis could use the controller. The N64 wasn't the only one to have a version of this controller either. The PlayStation had one as well, working in a very similar manner and designed much the same way, but the gyro controls were reportedly a bit more precise, making it easier to use. However, what kind of games would work with this controller? I mean, we know from the Power Glove that it actually had to be programmed with a keypad to work with specific games. So did this work in the same manner? Happily enough, the answer is no. In both controller designs, it would work with any game that was put in the system. However, it by all reports tended to work best with racing games, which would make sense given its overall design and look. The next most playable titles would be something akin to fighting games. However, most games were reportedly playable, at least with enough practice. The controller itself really didn't have much influence in the grander scheme of things. It was simply another attempt at a different control scheme with the intent to allow more flexibility in the gaming space for more people. And for that reason alone, it should be lauded, at least in my opinion. What do you guys think of this one though? Are any of you a fan of this little oddity? How many of you have heard of this one before? Did any of you ever get a chance to use one, and how well did it work? Let me know in the comments. However, for now, thank you so much for watching and spending part of your day with me. If I could ask you for one more favor, please leave this video a like. And if you haven't, consider subscribing. It really helps me out. For now though, thank you once again, and until next time, happy gaming.